Good morning, the LA Chess Club, Saturday morning lecture. Today we're going to start off with a game with Maróczy played against Zambelli in 1897. Maróczy is playing black, Zambelli is playing white. I think the name Maróczy is pretty well known to most chess players because they've heard of the Maróczy bind, which is knight and two pawns here controlling the d5 square. Okay, Zambelli starts with e4. Great opening move for white. Why? Bishop gets developed, queen gets developed, sits on one of the four center squares, controls the center square. If it's good enough for white, certainly good enough for black, and Maróczy plays e5. Knight to f3, attacking the unguarded pawn. And now we have what is pretty much commonly known as sort of like a center counter. d5. Okay, what's the idea behind this? Well, obviously, black can develop both bishops, which is very strong. But if white takes, queen takes, knight can tempo the queen, black loses another tempo, which is usually why it's not played too often. Anyway, Zambelli accepts the pawn. And instead of the queen coming back and getting tempoed by knight c3, bishop gets developed, blocks any advance of the pawn, probably bringing the knight out and getting ready to do what, guys? Castle. The old adage of knights before bishops, so Zambelli develops the queenside knight, protecting this pawn. Maróczy develops kingside knight, getting ready to castle, as we said, attacking the pawn once. It's already guarded once, but he did develop a piece. Okay, so two developed, looks pretty close. And Zambelli gets the first tempo in with a check. Okay, so you have a bunch of choices. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ways, 7 ways to stop this check. 7. Okay? I think 4 of them are terrible. Yeah. So 3 are only okay. I think maybe moving the king, that's bad. That's probably not good because you'd lose your castling privilege. Bringing the knight back would be moving the same piece twice in the opening. Probably not good. You certainly don't want to bring the knight out because you'd lose the knight to the pawn and the queen, of course. So probably bishop here, maybe pawn. Okay, so it's either pawn c6 or bishop d7. What do you think?
Bishop d7.
Well, he chose c6.
Obviously.
Okay, now if pawn takes, bishop can't take because it's protected by the knight. So bishop retreats, keeps a pin on the pawn. What an interesting move for black now. What do you think black should do, guys? What's the normal? I think castling would be the correct play. Even bishop to g4, creating a relative pin, might even be okay, developing a piece and creating a pin.
Played b5, didn't he?
Well, e4, attacking the knight. If knight takes, so he's tempoing this knight. Interesting move. I'm not so sure it's correct. Zambelli ignores it because what's going to happen is if pawn takes knight, pawn takes pawn, forking, but you get a check. And then you take the rook and get a queen. Right. So very, very poor position already for black, which is really amazing that Maróczy didn't see this. So he gets off the pin and he castles. Okay, so he is still having a threat here because this is no longer the threat. Pawn takes, just bishop takes. This is still here. So white has to deal with this. He just moves the knight away. Okay, and Zambelli continues his march. Pawn takes pawn. Scarfing up a lot of pawns. Yes.
Yeah, you skipped the move.
You mean after this move?
Yeah.
Okay, knight. Sorry, guys. It's black to move right now, right?
Yeah. Oh, so black.
Pawn takes pawn. Black takes the pawn. Knight takes. Well, if he takes, I think he loses either the bishop or the rook.
Yeah.
Right? So he really can't take back. But white is sort of neglected his castling. Black is castled. I sort of like that, but the problem is that there's now 5 pawns to 7. So white has a clear pawn majority. If he can get to endgame, he's probably going to win with 2 pawns. But the whole idea of blowing the center open like this before you castle is you ain't going to make it to endgame with those extra 2 pawns. You're going to get mated somewhere in mid-game or late mid-game. So you're never going to be able to use those extra 2 pawns. All right, so let's see.
Sad but true.
That's correct. So knight takes. All right, so after pawn takes pawn, knight takes c6, queen out. So what are we threatening? We're threatening to win this, right? Knight takes, bishop takes, queen takes, 2 for 1. So you're threatening to win the knight. So might as well get something for it. Knight takes. There's 2 ways to take back.
Rook.
Rook is correct. Develop the rook. And now you have what on the B file?
Battery.
A battery. So you pretty much own that B file. It's a semi-open file, only 1 pawn on it, right? That's the definition of a semi-open file, is only 1 pawn. So after rook takes, interesting. Bishop up.
Blockade.
Yes, it's a blockade, and I think what he's trying to do is reroute the bishop somewhere over here. Here on this diagonal or here on this diagonal. Rook to d8.
Right on the queen.
Yes. So let's castle. Oh, here we go. Bishop takes pawn check.
Nice.
We have a nice little discovered attack here. The problem is if pawn here. All right, do you think king should take? Yep. It says a familiar beginning to the story, but the finish has a surprise twist. After king takes bishop, knight to g4 check.
Begin.
Now, if king goes back, queen to h6, and there's no way to stop the mate. Okay? So, king comes out.
Yeah.
Queen c7 check.
Oh. Oh dear.
Pawn block. Pawn takes pawn en passant
Okay.
check.
That was a good move.
King takes pawn. King can't take knight because it's protected by the bishop. Yeah, this king is way out in the middle of nowhere. Rook up, I guess threatening here with the queen, and then maybe mate in 1 here, and then mate here with the queen, right? Oh no, it can't. We're looking at a mate though. You're looking at a mate.
Yeah, no. Queen goes to f4.
Okay, so
Oh, and then
bishop now covers the check square. So let's check them this way.
oh.
Bishop to b7 check. So let's see, where can the king go? Well, he can't go here or here. He can't go here. He can't go here, and he can't go there.
Two.
I guess isn't this his only square? Is that his only square? No.
Wow. 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 Wow.
Rook to queen 5. This is queen 5. So how can he go here? He can't go here.
Because of the bishop.
Oh, I see. I see. He blocked the check.
Oh,
He blocked the check with the knight. That's what he did.
that makes sense.
Bishop takes, check. Keep the pressure on.
Wait, but now he can go to F4 if you. Wait, no, he can't.
Well, king takes knight now. He's getting rid of that pesky knight. But that king is way out in the middle of nowhere. Okay, queen all the way down, cutting off the king from escaping. So basically what you have is you have a wide open king, and all these troops are at home on the back rank, waving the flag saying, "Go, your majesty, go." The problem is in chess, it's supposed to be the other way around. It's the troops that are supposed to be out here fighting with the king safe at home. So there's something very wrong with this picture, okay? All right, so the queen has cut off the escape for the king. Pawn takes bishop, but no more development. Again, he didn't develop a piece. He's getting rid of the attacking army, but none of his pieces are getting ready to attack. So I'm not so sure that that's great. Queen takes pawn, check.
Ouch.
So let's see where the king can go. Well,
Exactly.
he went over here.
Whoa. You never go to the corner. No, right? No.
All right, so rook takes bishop.
Yeah.
He's hanging. He didn't even take the queen. He took the bishop because I think this is mate, right? Is this mate, or this with the queen would be mate here?
No, it wouldn't.
It will be mate. If queen takes rook, I think there's a mate in 3 or something. So sure enough, queen takes rook.
I'm like, that's gonna happen.
Now Marazzi announced mate in 5 moves. Black announced mate in 5. So every move has to be with check because you're looking at checkmate here,
Yeah.
right? So every move for black has to be a check.
Forced mate in 5.
Forced mate in 5. First move,
Rook G.
rook h5 check. Well, I think what you're doing is you're forcing the king down to where the pawns and the queen are gonna cause the mate. Okay.
Okay.
So obviously the only move the king has is to take the rook. That was 1. Two, check. Only move. So that's 2 and that's 3 for white.
Oh.
3 for black. That's check.
King F4. Yeah, King F4. Cool.
Well, he went to f4. That's right. That's his only move, right?
Takes F1. No.
Check. Now he obviously can't escape here. So his only move is here.
Wait, but now there's no longer the back rank mate, so he doesn't need his chess.
And there's the mate.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Isn't that fantastic?
Oh my god.
Now, here's the key. The key is that the most advanced piece of White's army
Is the king.
is the king. Everything else is behind the king. This is not the way to play chess. It's exactly the opposite. All the pieces are in front of the king,
And your king should be on the first.
and the king should probably be hiding over in this corner somewhere and
The king
everything.
should be switched with the rook right now on A1.
Well, take a look at this. Here's the key. Black developed and used, sort of like a la Morphy, every single one of his pieces.
And then he sent it.
These 3 are still in the back rank. So the queens are pretty much even. So basically what it was is it was an army of 7 against an army of 4.
4.
Yes, because 4 pieces got developed from white off the back rank. The other 3 are still there. So it was 7-4, which means that black could afford to get rid of his extra 3 that were still here, okay? And he mated the king. That is because he developed his pieces. Development, 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 guys. That's what it's all about. That was a fantastic game. Okay, let's set it up. We'll do another one. That was Marazzi. There's a reason they call it the Marazzi bind. You know, you get certain opening patterns that are named after the grandmasters that made them famous. That was an amazing game. Every single one of black's pieces came into play. And that's what you want.
Compared to how bad black looked at the first
I know. Didn't he look like he was behind? But you'll notice that he had actually castled early.
Yeah, that was his advantage.
You know, and he lost these 3 pawns here, but he had a very, very safe king. And king safety is paramount in chess. Okay, we have a game here played against the great Emanuel Lasker, who was world champion for 27 years, longer than anybody else in history. Kasparov is the second with 20 years, 85 to 2005. But Lasker held the world championship for 27 years. He's now playing Sammy Reshevsky in Nottingham, England, 1936. At that time, Reshevsky was probably in his early 20s, and Lasker was probably in his late 60s. But he had been world champion 12 years before, in 1924, when he lost it, or no, 15 years before, when he lost it to Capablanca. Lasker's white, Reshevsky is black. D4, D5. Lasker's white, Reshevsky's black. Okay, and we have the classic Queen's Gambit. Reshevsky accepts the pawn. Now, you can play Queen's Gambit accepted, but you must know when to give this pawn back. If you try to hold on to the pawn, you're going to get behind in development because you're going to start pushing all these pawns here while white's developing his pieces, and you may hold on to this extra pawn, but white's army is going to be so strong that he's just going to come in and he's going to blow you open. So you have to be willing to give this pawn back, but at the right time. That's the key of knowing when to give it back, okay? So, knight f3, yes. Knight f6, developing very quickly. E3, so the bishop is eyeing to get the pawn back. And black says, okay, go ahead, take it back, it's time. And sure enough, he gives the pawn back.
That's the right time.
Well, evidently black felt it was the right time. And c5, what's the idea behind this? If pawn takes, queen takes, and white loses the castling privilege, right? So, and you really aren't losing this pawn because the bishop can take it back, but after taking, king takes, pawn takes. And I think probably black stands a little better because he's going to be able to castle. And white's king will be stuck in the center, at least for the next 5-6 moves. And in chess, you know, that's 1 or 2 moves sometimes can be an eternity. Okay, so after c5, white says, go ahead. Now, if he takes, I guess he could take back with the knight. He's not going to take back. I don't think he should take back with the pawn. He'll have an isolated pawn on the d file, so he probably should take back with the knight if the pawn's going to take the pawn, but he doesn't. Black plays a6, I guess with the idea of b5, bishop back, and then c5, c4. White castles. So Lasker castles. Reshevsky says, move that pesky bishop. And Lasker says, okay. Pawn takes. All right. Pawn takes.
Isolated.
All right, so what do you think Lasker should do?
Lasker?
Well, Reshevsky, let's see, pawn takes, yes, so it's Reshevsky to move. Now,
Move the bishop.
if he develops this bishop, he'll be ready to castle.
Yeah.
White's already castled, and I think he wants to eye this g2 pawn. So bishop b7, and you have a beautiful, long, light square diagonal for the rest of the game. Very, very nice. Very nice. Lasker pins. What kind of pin is it, guys? A relative pin is correct.
I confused the two. It's
Reshevsky says, no, thank you. I'll take away the pin. Queen to e2.
get your king.
I guess eyeing the king, but I'm pretty sure that we know what Reshevsky's going to do now. And he castles. So far, a very nice game. Queen's rook to d1, giving a little x-ray saying hello to the queen.
Hello. Queen a5.
Developing his last minor. Knight on b to d7. Of course, where's the square this is going to go to? These are taken away. This one's already occupied by the king's knight. b6 with the idea of what? c4? Trade off the knight for the bishop?
But you're
He's planning to
a pawn.
he's planning to move the knight on f to d5, and then the knight on d7 to f.
So that's going to look like this.
Yes, but first he's going to go queen c7 before anything.
Okay, let's take a look.
Why not? Okay, yeah, that works. Or queen a5.
Either.
Well,
Queen
first
A5,
thing,
maybe queen a5 and b4.
well, yeah, knight. It says knight to king 5. Now,
Okay.
now let's take a look at this.
Oh, the bishop.
All right, now
I know.
he's got 1, 2, 3 on this knight, but he's only guarding it once. But he has one here. If he takes here and it tempos the queen, what's he going to do?
Knight takes knight.
Knight takes knight, tempoing this queen.
Uh-huh.
And the rook fit.
Yeah, but he's going to eye the queen.
I'm casting
Then the
knights.
bishop takes queen, he takes with check.
It says Alekhine recommends rook to e8. Okay, trying to get rid of this isolated pawn, but I mean for this rook here. Rook over here now. It's a very tricky move. Very, very tricky move. Okay, wait a minute. This,
Aw.
hold it. Whose move was it? This, after this move here by black, it's white to move.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we skipped the move again.
It's this move.
Now suicidal knight?
That's the move.
Can we do suicidal knights now?
Now Andy's move.
Oh.
Okay, now that all makes sense.
Suicidal knight.
Bishop doesn't want to lose or trade, so he goes back.
I'm suicidal knights. Wait, couldn't he move the bishop to g5 and the idea of trading? No, go back. So like, when you go to c1, like when that bishop moves to c1.
This knight just went here.
Yeah, and then when the bishop moves back to c1, after that, couldn't black move to g5 and then you move
Bishop here
Yeah, no, yeah, the black bishop there. That way, when the white bishop
trades.
back,
You have to stop.
and then the queen takes.
Yeah, but you could also push here.
Yeah, you have to stop the knight from going to f4. You have to stop, and you keep the bishop on the diagonal.
See
that
this knight?
prevents it. You have to stop it.
This knight's going to come here and fork.
Oh,
Yeah, you have to stop it.
yeah. Okay, because I was thinking like in
That's like
terms
the only
of
way.
that knight could move there, but after you've traded off, so the queen was
All
on
right.
the g square.
Here's what you're doing is, this is trading here. Knight takes knight here. Pawn takes knight.
Oh,
Knight to f6. The exchange of knights gave white a minus in his weak backward bishop pawn and black a plus in his powerful grip on d5 because he owns it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. Remember, you're always fighting for the 4 center squares, so obviously d5 is owned by black.
And then you could argue that E4.
Okay.
No, because this is like
Isolated pawn, so try to make use of it. Queen up, threatening what, guys?
checkmate.
Checkmate. Everybody sees this checkmate right here. Very nice. So, knight back to just block it. Rook on f to c8. This is a little isolated backward pawn, right?
Yeah.
It's not isolated, but it's a backward pawn. So key on the backward pawns.
But isn't the square C4 then a great outpost?
No. Bishop up to protect it. It says not a happy development, but if he can later play c4 and then d5, new vistas will be opened to the bishop. Okay, but that's if, right? Knight to g4. Let's see if there's any sacrifices in the air. Here. Oh, yes, here. Well, let's see. King. Oh, and then maybe check because you can't take with the knight because you'll get mated, right?
No, you just bring the bishop to d6 first. Force him to push g3.
All right, so then this should be the move first, right? All right, but it's white to play now. Rook over to put extra here. Knight to knight 4.
Wait, it's black's turn.
It is black's turn. All right. Knight to knight 4. How can that be? Knight to knight 4. Oh, knight. See, when the knight was here, he didn't go to g4. It's my fault.
Not to the side.
He went to e4. See, it's real hard to do the old English notation.
Now you
Yeah,
went
that's
to g5.
confusing.
Yeah. And then the rook went to c1.
Yeah.
Now he went to g5. That's correct. So, pawn takes pawn. Pawn takes pawn. All right, let's take a look.
Wait, take the knight.
No, he's taking the free pawn. The queen can't take the
Yeah,
bishop.
now take the knight.
Okay,
Now the black knight takes the white knight.
that's correct. That's exactly correct. Check.
Has to take with the pawn.
Yes, he does.
And then queen g5.
That's correct. Absolutely correct.
Then goes into the corner.
Yeah. There's only one move.
Now does he take f3, sacrifice?
Queen g4. Queen g4 is better.
Queen g4.
Yeah. Queen
Oh, yeah.
g4.
Because it's pinned.
And he's threatening to win the queen.
Yes.
And mate.
Yes, that's where he went. And white resigned.
Yeah.
Because he can't take because it's pinned, right?
There's no way to stop
Yeah.
And how is he going to save this?
it.
No, he lost the queen at least.
Yeah, he's gonna lose. There's no way to stop it.
Yeah.
I mean, even if he moves away,
The bishop takes, and then the queen
It's-
takes, and he's done.
yeah, so bishop takes check, and he has to take with the queen,
Yeah,
you know.
he lost the queen.
Yeah, and then you can easily move a rook over to the rook.
Yeah, no. This was,
Well,
well, this was the young U.S. champion in his prime against the former world champion who was getting pretty old. Now, if you and I were to play Lasker,
Guys,
yeah,
I
well,
was right. You were wrong.
that's what happens. You know, brain cells do get old as you age, guys. There's not much you can do about it, okay? There's not much you can do about it, okay?
I have $10 on business. I am cash free.
Sorry.
Cash anywhere. I've actually never spent any money.
Not bad, not bad, not bad. Okay, one more and we're done.
It's $10. It was agony to spend that money.
Why? It has better uses.
The what?
And I've never spent money before in my life.
Oh, they got rid of it. You have to have bottled water. They got rid of it a long time ago. It's all bottled water now.
Do you have bottled water?
Well, you're supposed to, they do for the Bridge Club.
Really? Because that's the whole reason why I didn't bring my water.
Yeah.
You have to bring your own water now.
Water just
But there should be, I mean, you can check
like
and see if it's in there.
water.
Okay, last one. Here we go, real quick. Prague, 1916, Tobias versus Buska. E4, D5. I love it. Here we go. Pawn takes, queen takes,
C3.
and knight C3, which is the center counter. Or Scandinavian, I'm not so sure I really love it. Queen over,
Knight F6.
and a D4 is the correct play. Knight F6, knight F3, bishop G4 creating your pin. H3 asking a question to the bishop. You really want to stay there or not? Queen shoots all the way across and says, take my bishop, I'll take your rook. Bishop gets rid of the pin. Knight C6, quick development by both sides. Castling,
Eliminating that threat.
It was a long game, but I was always winning.
this is very interesting now. Very, very interesting. Black says, take my bishop. I'm castling. And white says, okay, I will.
No way.
How? See, you already know that.
Oh,
Knight takes
yes,
pawn.
yeah.
Black's already.
Now, you're threatening mate, but you still have a knight that's covering this. So let's see if black can really exploit this.
Well, takes.
Well, first thing he does is he develops the bishop and takes care of the mate square.
Again.
F5 to make sure the knight stays here. Knight to B5.
E5?
B5. Pawn to A6.
Knight takes C7.
Knight takes C7 is correct. That's exactly right. He has a piece to give back. Why not do it now and open up the king, right? However, he doesn't play it that way. Black decides to attack the bishop.
I got that move right.
Knight takes pawn.
Forward to knights. D6.
Rook takes pawn, attacking the queen and the bishop.
Oh, here. Now you see the checkmate. I see the checkmate now.
Knight takes knight.
Takes the bishop. Take the bishop.
Take the,
Wait a minute.
No, but that will be back bridesmaid.
Let's take a look at this. On B6, yeah. On, wait a minute.
English notation.
Yeah.
No, but if he takes that,
It says white knight.
black's done. Don't get too carried away with that one.
Knight takes knight B6. That's bishop 6. And that would be for, oh, here. Yeah, okay. This is bishop 6. Rook takes queen.
Oh, what? Oh, yeah. Here,
Queen's rook takes rook. He's giving a lot of stuff back.
Who is?
Pawn takes knight.
There goes that. Right.
So what do you have for the queen? You have a lot of stuff for the queen.
Who's? Yeah, you're.
Well, you have rook, bishop, knight. So here's rook, bishop, knight. So you have rook, bishop for the queen, roughly equal.
One point ahead.
Bishop a6.
Bishop takes pawn, check.
Yeah, 9. No, queen's worth 9.
Queen's worth 10.
What?
Bishop takes pawn, check.
They made queen worth 10?
Yeah, queen's up to 10 now. She got graduated from 9 to 10.
When?
Oh, like a long time ago, like 20 years ago.
What? I
Uh,
just read that.
Guys, I want you to look up a Chess Life article from 1996, I believe, called Evaluation of the Pieces. It was when the first computer analysis was done on Grandmaster games. And what they did is they analyzed like 3 to 5 million Grandmaster games from like 1985 to 2000, roughly, or until 1996, over that 11-year period. And they found that rooks stay at 5, knights are still 3, pawns are still 1, but the queen went to 10 points, and the bishops in endgame went to 4.
An endgame, yeah.
Okay? So that's why you want to keep the double bishop for endgame, because it goes to 8 points, where the 2 knights in endgame are still 6.
Well, it depends also on the situation of.
Well, of course, it's always position, but everything else being equal, bishops do go up to 4 points in endgame.
It's 9.
So after king b8,
It's crazy.
Knight c5.
yes, knight c5, knight b5 check.
Or yeah, b5.
Well, oh,
Knight b5, discovered check.
Oh, yay. I was
Bishop block.
What's the point in that? Oh, draw.
Well, because you want to get rid of this, I guess. He's keeping the pressure on. But white just keeps scarfing material. And he's getting ready to get mated.
Oh,
Rook takes pawn.
Black's will get mated.
what? No way.
Pawn. See, he's got to get rid of this bishop for this mate. He's trying to get rid of the bishop on the diagonal.
It's mated. One.
Well, here, I think this is checkmate, right?
Yeah.
So he's threatening mate in 1. Bishop b7 is
He
mate.
needs 2 moves. He needs 2 moves.
So pawn takes bishop, because now the king.
Oh no, the king has 1 spot if he doesn't.
So, yeah, he would have to go to b8. So knight check.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
So what's the only move?
King a7.
Mate.
Mind. You're right. Aha, 2. That's 2.
Look at the way those 3 pieces work in harmony, guys. Try to get your pieces to work. What's that line from Searching for Bobby Fischer? Your son used pieces in combination to attack, lady. This is the same thing, okay? Pieces in combination to attack, okay? All right, thanks, guys.